You don't get to the top by accident. If you do, shut the hell up and don't tell anyone, because if someone realizes, you'll be thrown down quicker than you can say, "Hey Vince, I grabbed that brass ring." When you reach the promised land as well, most guys will do what they can to protect their spot, which also makes sense. You worked your ass off, you made it, now it's time to stay there. It's why the majority of main eventers are very cagey about who they will put over. Steve Austin did this, Hulk Hogan was obsessed with it, we know the Triple H story, and while The Rock seems to be an exception, even he would navigate those waters with style and skill. Given all that info that has just been thrown at you, it should be no surprise that John Cena also fits into this window. Ever since he got to the top of the ladder, he's made sure to stay there, which means every now and then, some people have just been told no. I'm Simon from WhatCulture, and this is 10 wrestlers John Cena would not put over. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to stay notified. Ding, ding, done. Number 10, Jesus. This whole thing was just weird to begin with, especially in hindsight. John Cena is a proper star, and Jesus is just doing whatever Jesus is doing. I just hope he's well. But after, in storyline, Cena had been stabbed in a nightclub, and yes, you heard what I said, that was the narrative here, by Carlito and his band of thugs. John got in the ring with one of them, Jesus, and just whipped his ass, even though again, he had been punctured courtesy of a big blade. The man who can't be seen even got smacked in the stomach with a kendo stick, but completely ignored it before proceeding to beat Jesus down for around 7 minutes in a very one-sided US title defense in 2004. You can take this one of two ways too. Would Cena have made it to where he was without things like this, or should he have at least shown some weakness to help his opponent out just a touch? Answers on a postcard. Number 9, The Miz. John Cena and The Miz have clashed a lot over the last decade or so. In many ways, they're like two peas in the same pod, although veering off in wildly different directions. But both are synonymous with the WWE nowadays, even if one is clearly a bigger star. Since this war began though, what's noticeable is that The Miz has never really got one over Cena, ever, at all. We can start at WrestleMania 7, where Rock and John took center stage despite Miz being the champ, and despite his fluke victory, Mr. Awesome wasn't treated at the level he should have been. Then there was Over the Limit 2011, where Miz had help in the form of Alex Riley and a lead pipe. That still wasn't enough. Cena had his number again. Even at the Elimination Chamber in 2017, Miz was gotten rid of after 1 AA, despite at that point the AA being less of a finishing move and more of a deliberate sign that a near fall is coming. Then there's WrestleMania 33, and we know what happened there. Of course, Miz has beaten Cena here and there, but it's never been allowed to have any serious weight. Thankfully, the A-lister has managed to run with all that and come up the other side smelling of roses, but still, the proof is there for all to see. Number 8, Bray Wyatt. A lot of people say that the beginning of the end for Bray Wyatt happened after he failed to beat John Cena at WrestleMania 30. After a long storyline where Wyatt promised to unleash Cena's dark side, he failed in doing that, and then also failed when it came to vanquishing John too. He got beat and that was that. Or he wishes. Clashing again at Extreme Rules 2014, Cena threw everything out the window during the build by just laying into the Wyatt family on the April 14th episode of Raw. Rather than sell the fact this trio was meant to be scary, Cena went the other way and basically said that if they just let their hair down, they'd probably become the life of the party. Rowan had mad jokes, Harper would streak through the quad, and Wyatt himself was a ladies' man. It was all for the fun, of course, but it does all tie in. Bray & Co kept telling us they were intimidating and powerful, but then they never won, and they got dragged down verbally here until we all started to believe it. In short, not only did Cena not put over Wyatt in the ring, but he didn't put the premise over either. That hurt, and hurt bad, and now look. Number 7, Alberto Del Rio. Weird one this, but as a lot of people do point to it as a moment in time, it's only fair we talk about it. But when Alberto Del Rio first arrived in the WWE, his character was built around being a self-entitled rich asshole who believed he deserved to be the world champion. Del Rio was great at playing it, and was soon hated by everyone. Nice. The system works. However, on the August 22nd, 2011 Raw, after Alberto had won the gold, Cena dressed him down as nothing more than a pretender who wore flea market scarves and drove rented luxury cars. Now this is as pro wrestling as it gets, but it ripped the momentum from the new champ and turned him into just another guy. Soon, fans were just chanting boring at him. That couldn't have been the plan. The real issue was even if Cena was losing to Del Rio, he was losing to an opponent who we've been told was worth nothing. No one cares about it then, and the status quo continues on as normal. For example, what would we all say today if Cena told Andrade Cien Almas that he is nothing but the next failed attempt to replace Rey Mysterio? Exactly. Number 6, Alex Riley. One day, a story about Alex Riley and John Cena is going to come to light. There's plenty of mumblings already out there, but as Riley himself has never told it firsthand, it's hard to make heads or tails of it. But if we follow the apparent narrative, Cena saw Alex as somewhat of a no-hoper backstage, something former WWE star Tyler X had no problem talking about. To quote the man verbatim, he said this during a Reddit AMA. Cena thought Riley did something wrong every single day. Can't mistake that. Rex also disclosed that Cena would hunt through Riley's bag before, and I quote again, bitching him out for using supplements, which seems odd. He also recounted a story in which Cena had effectively laid out a 6-man tag match involving Riley, whose role he micromanaged. Alex followed those instructions to the letter, and yet Cena was still not happy. He referred to Alex as numbnuts as he reprimanded him backstage. Riley just vanished from WWE without much fanfare eventually. There's every chance all this is true. Who knows? Number 5, Baron Corbin. The rumors back in 2017 went like this. WWE wanted to push Baron Corbin, give him the Money in the Bank briefcase, and then soured on him when he began bickering with WWE medical director Joseph Maroon over the seriousness of concussions. On top of that, there were also whispers that Cena had written him off to management. Now, the Wrestling Observer debunked this rumor, but Cena still did away with the man at SummerSlam. Now, obviously, Cena didn't book the finish himself, but their clash was very flat and didn't really allow Corbin to show what he could do in any sense. It was so forgettable, I had to look it up before doing this video as I couldn't even picture it in my head. It was a weird move because it pulled the rug out from under Corbin, even though there was this idea that WWE wanted fans to take him seriously as a championship contender. So explain that one. Didn't help anyone involved. Number 4, Braun Strowman. On the September 11, 2017 Raw, John Cena faced Braun Strowman in a pay-per-view match that was just thrown on TV. Nope, I don't know either. That's just the world we live in nowadays. So let's do some comparing. Roman Reigns, long considered the second coming of Cena, had an awesome feud with the Monster Among Men in the months prior, often stealing the show when they clashed. Dynamic, hard-hitting, and fought as if they wanted to kill each other, those matches raised the profile of both men. Roman especially made sure to never stop moving to keep the realism up. The only way he could beat Strowman was to stay on him. Cena, on the other hand, well, this was far more by the numbers. He did sell for Strowman in the early going in the most exaggerated way possible, but that didn't matter at all when John fired up out of nowhere even after taking an inordinate amount of punishment. This was Hogan levels of revival prowess. Because of all this, Braun didn't really get much out of it, and Cena is still Cena. Could hit him with a truck and it's not going to make any difference. Strowman did lay out John afterwards by power slamming him onto the steel steps. There wasn't much payoff for all of this. Kind of just ended. That was that. Number 3, Damien Sandow. The fall of Damien Sandow was quick and sudden, but man, was it hard to see. Many factors contributed to it, but after he was selected to win the Money in the Bank briefcase in 2013, the old curse of, well, he's got the briefcase now so he can lose a lot, came into play. Hilariously, or so the story goes, it was this that dented Sandow's aura and his perception to Vince McMahon, even though he booked the damn thing. I mean, why on earth did he pick this loser as a potential world champion, he must have pondered. And that really is mind-blowing. There was also what happened on the October 28, 2013 entry of Raw, however. After John Cena told us that he was far from 100% following an elbow injury that had shelved him, Sandow, smelling blood, cashed in. It was a wise move, especially as Cena had re-injured that elbow with a sickening steel chair shot. Usually this sort of angle results in a 2-minute match, but here, Cena fought through the pain barrier and dispatched Sandow in just over 13 minutes. Damien couldn't even beat a one-armed man in a punching contest. It was difficult to take him seriously as a genius when he failed to follow through on the most basic of all wrestling strategies. Also, he was only the second guy to attempt to cash in and fail, Cena himself being the first, which didn't help any of this either. Number 2, Ted DiBiase Jr. On the February 8, 2010 Raw, Ted DiBiase Jr. stood in John Cena's way, which was bad because, as Jerry Lawler put it, Cena was in a foul mood. Batista had tried to end Cena's career during a previous brutal attack, so in response, Cena killed off DiBiase's career. That's not really how retribution works, but never mind. John rushed to the ring and flattened DiBiase with a lariat before unleashing a volley of fists on his face and sending him hurtling from the ring. Cena then threw the man into the barricade as DiBiase sold like he'd been killed. Foam even came out of his mouth as Cena refused to release an STF. Given there was no real feud and that DiBiase wasn't just some geek and had an upcoming match with Randy Orton on the cards, and this just seemed to screw him over and no one knew why. Anyone could have filled this role, and yet we fed young Ted to the lions instead. As we can see now, it didn't help at all. Number 1. Wade Barrett. John Cena explicitly refused to put Wade Barrett over, or so it is said. Irrespective of the fact that John Cena made the call, he wanted to send the fans home happy from SummerSlam, Cena was encouraged by Edge and Jericho to use his power to change the plan, and he defeated the White Hot Nexus faction with the utmost of ease. It wasn't as if Michael Tarver was ever going to carve up the main event scene, but we never did find out now, did we? During the closing stretch of the match, Barrett and Justin Gabriel, possessing the numbers advantage, laid waste to Cena. Wade peeled back the protective matting and delivered a brutal skull-first DDT to the concrete before tagging in Gabriel. He ascended the ropes before missing his 450 splash, which allowed Cena to recover in about 60 seconds. Barrett then got caught in the STF and he tapped out. In short, Cena had recovered to beat two men in just 1 minute 38. This was nonsense.